Everyone. Hey, everyone. Let's talk with JB here. We are going to just jump right in today. Lots of things are going on in regards to sports. So we're going to start right off with that. As you probably just heard, I just heard, like seconds ago, Patrick Ewing is out at Georgetown. Oh, what are we doing? Well, everyone probably thought his last game was Wednesday when they lost 80-48 to Villanova. But I was just hoping that, Patrick had another year, had another chance, had another opportunity to try to get it right. But the Big East is really, really not the powerhouse that it used to be. And for 6 seasons, Patrick, his team just never really – that it never was there. Like, he never had it. I don't know. I tried to watch a couple Georgetown games to support Patrick Ewing. As you all know, I'm a big Knicks fan. As you can see, I'm wearing my Knicks jacket today. The Knicks have been playing pretty well. So, represent. They've been doing very, very well. One of my friends, he says he's a Knicks fan, but I was around when he switched up to the Heat, when LeBron moved to the Heat. He's a bandwagon jumper, but a little bit. He's been a Knicks fan for the most part, right? And so we won like 8 games or 9 games in a row, and he was like, "Oh, the Knicks are the truth." I said, "Whoa, slow down, slow down." And then like the next game we lost. I see, you can't get too excited about the Knicks, but nonetheless, I wanted to just talk about a little bit about what's going on in the league, a little bit about what's happening. Again, just broke that Patrick Ewing is out. Patrick Ewing is out at Georgetown. I know I'm excited to see, what happens next for him, where he may end up. I'm hoping that this coaching opportunity that he did have gave him a little bit more experience to step into somewhere else. However, it wasn't so good. His Georgetown stint wasn't so good. But, Patrick Ewing is out at Georgetown. You also saw earlier this week that Syracuse coach is out. He's been there for forever, like I think almost as long as I've been alive. I think like 36 years. When they won the championship with Carmelo Anthony, he was still the coach. Boeheim. So, these programs are going to have new head coaches next year. I'm kind of excited to see who's going to step in who's going to step in with the Orangemen. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Georgetown, but I was waiting for Patrick to be fired after the loss to Villanova. I mean, the Big East, tournament, you lost 80-48. That is not competitive. So that was pretty rough. And then also today, you probably heard Shawn Kemp was arrested. Shawn Kemp was arrested for the the caption that you see is he was arrested for a drive-by shooting. But when you really read into the detail, it appears that he was arrested, not formally charged. He was released pending further investigation. But from what you've read, supposedly someone stole something from his car, an item. My understanding from what I was reading is a cell phone, and he did find my iPhone. And when he found the person supposedly allegedly shot at him, and he shot back. So it appears that it is a little bit of a self defense. But if you guys know, Sean Kemp, he used to play for the Seattle Supersonics. Him and the Glove, you remember, phenomenal pairing. They made it to the playoffs. I mean, to the finals 1 year. But again, he's been in trouble with the law here and there for drugs and things of that nature, but never anything like this. So right now, like I said, it's pending investigation and everything, but this just kind of happened a little bit ago too. Sean Kemp being arrested for a drive-by shooting. So what a way to start off the show, right? Patrick Ewing being fired, Sean Kemp being arrested. But what I really wanted to talk about a little bit today is, like, it's been in the news for the past couple of days. It's about John Morant. And everybody knows, well, you may know, he plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. And, he's a young talent, 23 years old, great kid, little cocky, but, his style of game is great. I know a lot of younger kids that really look up to him and love his game. They emulate him, they follow him, and different things of that nature. My sister's stepson, he loves John Morant. We went to a Knicks game, and he's a Memphis fan, so we went to the Knicks-Memphis game, and, he's cheering for John Morant. But the issue is right now he is being suspended for a few games. I'm not sure. Right now, they did the investigation. Supposedly, Colorado is not going to be pressing charges. So at least that piece is okay. But, he still has the NBA and the team itself. They suspended him for a few games. He said that he took ownership of his issue. And now the issue that we're speaking about here is the fact that he was on Instagram Live, in a club, shirt off, waving around a gun. Now, for the person, for the average person, it's just a stupid decisions that he made from the jump. One, being in the club with the gun, and then going live on Instagram. Now, he has since deleted his Instagram, Facebook, and all those types of social media accounts. But the fact is that just putting it out there is just a really bad decision, right? He's a young kid, 23. He just got his signature sneaker deal. And, this is not a good image or brand for the NBA. It's not a good image or brand for Nike. So, you don't know if he may lose his sneaker deal. He may lose some of the Memphis has been televised a lot because of him. I mean, people say what they want, but when teams are interested, when teams have players, they get more nationally televised games. And Memphis has been more nationally televised in the last 2 years than they've ever been. And it's because of him being on that team. So this is really a negative impact, right? And I've heard so many people come on and on various stations, ESPN, Mike and the Mad Dog, The Fan. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone has a point of view. And the point of view that many people have, he's stupid, he makes sometimes choices, Yes, all of that is true. Bad decisions, and the thing is, this has been boiling, it just seemed to be getting a little bit more and more and more reckless. Last year, he didn't seem like this type of kid, and he still does not seem like this type of kid, right? But they're talking about the entourage, the people that he hangs around. Like one of the people who were speaking about him today, this was on ESPN, and they were talking about how when they used to have to they were following Iverson, and I know they're not the same person, but they were saying how his entourage and and the people that he had around him allowed him to find himself in making poor decisions and find himself not being able to take full advantage of his stardom. Like, a lot of companies probably stayed a little clear of Iverson because of his image and because of the company he kept. And now they're saying that is more than likely what's going to happen with Morant. Now, this has been kind of, like I said, kind of boiling up, kind of coming to the surface a little bit. If you think about it, you had the situation with Shannon Sharpe, where people were coming at him kind of left. Now, mind you, that whole situation was nuts. But then you also had the situation with the Pacers, where people in his entourage were supposedly shining lights into, like, red laser lights into their bus and waiting for them. So, like, again, this has been boiling, like, poor decision after poor decision. And, when you watch him, and I remember watching his father, you see how his father was instrumental in getting him to where he is today. But his father is enjoying the celebrity. So that, you have quite a few people who have come out and they're saying that his father should do this and his father should do that. Now, he is a grown man and he should be responsible for himself. And his statement that he made after is that he takes accountability and he's going to take some time to work on his mental health. I don't know if that was a true statement of his or if that was a publicist statement, but it did appear to strike the right chord. And a lot of people are hoping that he does get the help that he needs. But there were a few commentators that really had extremely great points. And I'm not normally a fan of Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A., he really spoke to how we need to get out of this place of remaining down or and with your people, and you work so hard to get out of this situation, and then you just keep putting yourself back there. You won't allow yourself to grow enough to realize that there's more to life than this. And then the other person who I thought was really good was Shaq. Shaq talked about how, now mind you, there's been many comments that have been made, but one of the comments that Shaq made, and he was like, he's not going to kick him because he made a poor decision. He made multiple poor decisions, right? He made the poor decision to be in the club with his shirt off. He made the poor decision to have a gun, right? Then he made another poor decision to find the app and to press the go live button, right? So all of these were poor decisions, but they're poor decisions of a 23-year-old. So I'm prayerful that he has this opportunity to see that there are many people that are rooting for him. Everybody is not against him. Everybody is not trying to kick his back, and everybody is not trying to tear him down. But they have been trying for a while to get him to see that the path and the people that he's keeping and the things that you're doing are leading you to. He's leading you down the road that you don't want to find yourself. And I've never thought of him as being street. You know what I mean? Like, I personally never thought of that. But again, it's like he's trying to play into a role that there's no need for him to do that. So I'm really, like I said, I'm really prayerful that this is a wake-up call. I'm prayerful that this is an opportunity for not just him, but for a lot of these other players to realize that there's so much more to this. If you really want to win in this NBA, NFL, NHL, whichever sport you're a part of, image and likability and promotability and all those types of things, these are the things that help you get those endorsements. That these are the things that help you get those TV deals. These are the things that help you get that money outside of the contract of your basketball contract, and it allows you to be able to be considered a role model. And I'm not saying that NBA players should be role models for everyone's children, but at the bottom line is, for a lot of kids, they look up to these types of players. They want to be like these types of players. Now, back in the day, Magic, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, all of these players, you did not have social media. You did not have this extra level of scrutiny, so they can come and show you or present something to you, and that's all you saw, but nowadays with social media and everyone being a paparazzi and everyone having a camera and everyone having an opinion, you are held to a different standard. Like, everything you do is scrutinized, right? And there was something that, this is what Shaq was saying. Shaq was saying that he's surrounded himself with friends that are not yes friends. He surrounded himself with people that will check him. He surrounded himself with people that's going to say, yo, you don't need to be about this, or you don't need to be doing this. And he said that he answers to a higher power, he stated. And he stated that he goes, how would this affect my mom? How would this affect my family? How would this, so he takes a step back and thinks before he moves. And that's the piece that I think a lot of these young players, because you think about it, we're about to have the NBA draft. You're about to have the NFL draft. And these are going to be people coming from nothing to everything overnight. And for some, they don't have a structure or a foundation that somebody will tell them, you know what, you need to cut this, or you need to stop this. You need to not take your phone with you. You need to not carry a gun. If you feel as though you need to carry a gun to a place, then that's a place that you shouldn't go. Or you need to go with armed security. They need to be a little, need to use a little bit more wisdom. And like I said, this is a 23-year-old kid, 23. I've made plenty of dumb decisions at 23. Plenty of people have made plenty of dumb decisions at 23. But there was no microscope on our lives and on every decision that we were making. So we need to be, like I said, I'm very, 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 very prayerful. And I'm very thankful that nothing happened, right? Because think about it. Everybody knows here that I'm a big time Giants fan, and we were like 11-2. And Plexico goes and shoots himself in the club, like, and it's like, you step back and you're like, why did you feel the need to be out at a club? Now, mind you, guys, I'm a Giants fan, so I remember some of this stuff. He wasn't playing. He had a hamstring injury, so he wasn't going to be playing in the next game. So it wasn't no big deal for him to go out, right? But at that time, there were a couple things that happened. You had, was it Taylor? I think Sean Taylor that played for the Redskins. Somebody broke into his house and he was shot. Then there was a player that was robbed at gunpoint. So there were a couple things that happened that probably led Plexico to think that he needed to carry this gun, right? But again, I would have stated, and I still state, if you're going to a place where you feel as though you need to carry a gun, then there is absolutely no reason why someone of Plexico's stature should have been, right? So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's like there needs to be a wake-up call. And when this stuff was going out with John Morat, there was a comment that Plex made. Like, if you don't learn anything, if you didn't learn anything, learn from what I went through, right? There's gun laws in these cities. Now, mind you, they did state that Colorado was not going to be pressing charges on Morat, so at least he won't be criminally charged, right? But there's still, the NBA still can, how they can still suspend him and they can still do whatever they wish to do. Nike still can cut his deal. Now, mind you, he just signed his signature sneaker deal. So, like, a lot of things can be altered by one bad choice, one bad decision. So this is what I'm hoping that kids and everybody that was watching this got out of it. Not to sit back and dream of his downfall. That's never what we should be doing, right? We should be all just prayerful that he makes the right decisions. He gets it together. He surrounds himself with people that are going to call him on the nonsense and call him to do, what he was raised to do, or be how he was raised to be. Because I don't think he thought this was going to get the attention that it did. Late post, probably drunk, not thinking, who's going to see this, right? Everybody. And that was one of the statements that Stephen A was making. He was saying the NBA protects their investments. They have people out watching, figuring out what everyone is doing. And he went back to an interview that Carmelo Anthony had gave a while ago when he had a meeting with Stern, and Stern was saying that they know everything that everybody is doing. They have to be ahead of the curve before something goes on. So again, I I really hope he gets it together. I really hope, for the sake of the Grizzlies, that they get it together, because there's a very young team. I don't think anybody on that team is over 30. So everyone on that team is young. And so a lot of vets were saying that the veteran leadership that comes with having a vet on a team, someone that can help them see and understand that there's a easier or better way to do a thing, is missing. So I'm really hoping that the Grizzlies get it together, because he's not the only one that's had issues on that team. But I really hope they get it together. I really hope that he can get back out. I really hope that his game speaks more than this bad decision. And right now, this bad decision is clouding everything that he has already, done. And it's kind of sad to see. It's definitely sad to see. All right. So that and then you had I was talking about earlier, my Knicks being so great this week, but then they wind up losing to the Hornets. Who knew? So I'm not trying to get too excited, but I am excited. I love watching the Knicks win. When the Knicks win, all is well with the world. When the Knicks win, everybody wins. The Mecca of basketball is back on the map. All of those wonderful things, right? But I am not naive to think that we're going to the championship game. I am not naive to think that. But I do like watching us win. I do like the excitement. I do like how the Garden sounds when it's rocking. I love it all. But definitely sad day for Patrick. Again, losing his job with Georgetown. But again, if you saw that Villanova game, you expected him to be fired. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about was last week I was going off about the Giants not paying Daniel Jones $40 million. And I'm sad to say that the Giants have absolutely lost their mind. They are paying Daniel Jones $40 million. I can't. I cannot believe it. When they were coming down to the wire, they had to franchise tax people by Tuesday. So when they were coming down to the wire, I was just all expecting us to lose Saquon and we were going to franchise Daniel Jones. And at the last minute, they come up with this contract. Now, it is not. It is very top heavy. The later years is only $11 million, but it still averages out to about $40 million a year. And I think $80 million of it is guaranteed. It's some ridiculous number, right? And everything about this bothers me, because when you start paying a quarterback like Daniel Jones $40 million a year, you have just said that you're okay with never winning the Super Bowl. Now, mind you, we might find lightning in the bottle and get there one day or somehow, but you can't, I, as a Giants fan, cannot justify paying him this much money. Just think about it. And everyone knows I am never, ever, ever in my life been a Dallas Cowboy fan, but Dallas is not paying Dak $40 million a year. And I believe Dak is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. And I understand it does happen to be when your year comes up to be paid. Yep. And I'm not denying the fact that he had a very good year last year. But just the year prior, we didn't want to pick up his 5th-year option. So 1 year later, we want to pay him $40 million. And the problem that I have with this paying him $40 million is that we now have our hands tied. We can't go out and do and get the help in the other areas that we need because we're overpaying for a average quarterback at best. And it hurts my heart right now to say it, but Daniel Jones should not have received $40 million. How on earth are we going to pay other people? How on earth are we going to get quality receivers to come here? How? What? We did what? when I saw this come through, I was like, no way. Why? Why would we do this? I would have rather go and gotten someone from the draft. I would have rather gotten someone else. I just cannot. And the thing is, if we'd have put him on the open market, who else would have paid him $40 million? I was very shocked. But I realized that me being shocked and outraged I wasn't alone, right? There was a Giants fan that and I'm a part of a few Giants groups on Facebook, you know, like where we just come together and we hate on Cowboys and hate on all the other teams in the NFC East, but you know, we always find a way to just talk positive about the Giants, even when the Giants are not doing so great. So one of those types of groups, right? And in one of those groups, there's a Giants fan who has now renounced his Giant fandom. And this is what he said. He said, "Dear Giants Nation, we've had our ups and we had our downs for the past couple of seasons of fandom. But unfortunately, I have to say goodbye. The Daniel Jones contract extension is criminal." He said criminal. Criminal. He said it's a commitment to mediocrity. And when he said that, I was like, "Ooh, he's right." A mediocre football team, we cannot stand. He says, "I cannot stand for that. We are going to be stuck in a consistent cycle of performing, you know, average performances, and he cannot do that anymore." So then he goes at the end. He says, "Jet Nation, let's ride." And you know why? Because there's talk about Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets. Right. So, you know, he's asked for permission to talk to the Jets. And, you know, so once that starts to happen, you know, I actually think Green Bay is tired of the back and forth with Aaron Rodgers anyway. But anyway, now he has the ability to talk to the Jets. So anyway, this person's comment, it tickled me because it is very, 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 very true. It is very true. It is a commitment to mediocrity. And there is not much else that we can do if we're paying him this much money. And then the other thing that stood out to me today, the Eagles reporters, they're stating that the way that the Giants have moved with paying Daniel Jones this money and franchise tagging Saquon, that the Giants have proved that they're nothing to worry about. And what to me, what they're saying is actually true. We're not making any headway any place to be able to be a true threat to anyone. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think about the Daniel Jones contract. Again, I already knew that we were either going to lose or franchise Saquon. So I am kind of happy to see Saquon come back. But I'm very disappointed in the contract for Daniel Jones. I just feel like our hands are going to be tied. We do not have quality wide receivers. There are not people who look at Daniel Jones as being a top-notch quarterback that would want to come here and play because he's here. So those are all things that are issues. And I'm very, very interested to see how things are going to go forward. I was really starting to think that we were going to have to start looking for a quarterback if he was going to start demanding this. I thought we were going to franchise him and call it a day. And the thing is, he's getting paid $40 million, and then you have people like the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens who's just got franchised and who can't get a contract. You know, and he got unrestricted, like he didn't get the exclusive franchise. So that means that other teams can speak to him. Other teams can try to sign him. And when I said the quarterback for Baltimore, I'm talking about Lamar. But the issue that I'm seeing now is nobody wants to talk to him. So it's kind of like it's kind of disrespectful. I feel like this season he is going to go off. He's going to make people pay for the way that they're trying to treat him. Anyway, but he has been hurt the last 2 seasons toward the end of the year. I understand that. It is not the best way to come in and try to negotiate your contract when you are coming off 2 years of injuries where you have been out for more than 4 games. So I do understand that, but it's as if no one is even trying to entertain what he believes he is worth, but you pay Daniel Jones $40 million. And when I'm trying to explain, he makes like 300,000 less than Patrick Mahomes. You know, like I personally just don't understand it. But now, don't get it twisted. There've been a lot of bad contracts I'm seeing. They're signing everybody. They're signing everybody to these crazy contracts. Derek Carr, he signed a $150 million deal with the Saints. He's guaranteed $60 million. Again, Daniel Jones, $160 million deal. He's guaranteed $82 million. Now the one that got me was that, and now I can't be mad. I'm not a Geno fan, but he was a comeback player of the year last year. He did play well for Seattle. I'm not mad that they re-signed him, but they re-signed him for 3 years, $105 million. And I think that's I think that's good. I think that's good. I think he's a decent quarterback, and I think he got a decent contract. He is not getting the crazy guaranteed money, and he's not making $40 million a year. And this is kind of around the way that I felt like Daniel Jones' contract should have been. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who has a better year next year. I just feel like the Giants have kind of priced themselves out of having any real long-term success. I think we overachieve with little, and sometimes that is a very, very bad thing. Like, look at the Tennessee Titans. They're still rolling with Tannehill, right? Now, a lot of people thought Tannehill was done, and they keep thinking, oh, the Titans, they got it. One more year. That 1 more year is done. Like, they're not going to win with the way they're constructed. They need more help, but they're tapped out. And when people start thinking about, like, and this is how I feel about Daniel Jones too, it's like when you start thinking about these quarterbacks who have to be paid. Now, mind you, the contract that Patrick Mahomes signed is very beneficial to him, but also to the organization. It's over 10 years, and the way it's spread out, it gives them some flexibility in their cap space, so they can still bring on people and receivers. The way that Daniel Jones' contract is spread out, it's not spread out over 10 years, and it doesn't have that same type of flexibility. So we're taking hits. So we are not going to be able to bring in the talent that we are going to need. Now, mind you, we don't really have any wide receivers. We don't really have any tight ends. We have a running back. Saquon last year was his best year without getting hurt, right? But, he was a workhorse. Him and Daniel, they was doing all the running, right? They were doing all of the moving of the ball for the most part. So what do we improve? How are we getting better? What's going to change, right? So I don't know, everybody. So this season of football is going to be pretty. I'm going to be pretty upset. I can already tell. I'm going to be pretty upset as a Giants fan. So bear with me. Bear with me. I'm happy he got his money. You remember I was saying last week, know your worth, and I guess he knew his, and he knew that they needed him, and they were going to be willing to pay him $40 million. I didn't think so. Half the media world didn't think so. No one thought he was going to be making $40 million a year, but here we go. He's making it. So that was the main thing I wanted to kind of talk about today about sports. Daniel Jones getting his money, Saquon getting franchise, the Knicks being great, but still the Knicks. And then I was talking about Patrick Ewing losing his position at Georgetown. Also, the way that they lost the Big East tournament was like a shame. They really got destroyed by Villanova. And I really do believe that is the reason why he was let go, because the Big East is not even a powerhouse conference anymore. Georgetown should have been taking this conference hands down, but they weren't. And I feel bad for Patrick Ewing. I really do. I wanted him to win, but it was really, really rough watching. And I tried to follow the full six seasons he was there. And like I said, nothing really ever to get excited about at Georgetown. The fact that he came, that was cool. I was really excited, but that was really about it. And then you had I talked about Shawn Kemp and the situation that he finds himself in at this moment. But again, they're investigating that. I'm prayerful that, it was self-defense the way that it's being stated by his camp, by his people. But again, he was released, and the fact that he was released means that they're still investigating, and there's not enough to hold him. But yeah, Shawn Kemp was involved in a drive-by shooting, supposedly, allegedly, I'll say, this afternoon. And, like they're still looking into all the details. All right. And then we all know about Ja Morant, and I spoke about that and about how I'm prayerful that this is a wake-up call, not just for him, but just for young NBA, NFL, MLB players coming into this league, about, really understanding this business and understanding how much you have to lose or how much you can gain by the decision and choices that you make, and the company that you keep. It's very important to remember the company that you keep. You can't surround yourself with a bunch of yes people, or you will find yourself in a very, very, very bad situation. And there's been quite a few NBA and NFL players that have come out and they spoke about this. And Jalen Rose has been one. Everybody knows he had like a little bit of a bad boy kind of persona when he came out of Michigan, right? When they came out of Michigan. But again, he's talked about going back and trying to heal, his community, and he's opened up schools, and they have a high graduation rate. Priorities and different things are shifting and changing, and I'm hoping that is what continues to happen as this younger generation comes in and realize that there's so much more that they can do if they stop trying to be down and stop trying to keep it, whatever they want to call it, because I'm kind of old now, so I don't know whatever term they use now. But anyway, I'm really prayerful for him and his family and his fans, because like I said, I do know a lot of them are children. A lot of young kids love his game, love his whole persona, and I feel really bad because once sometimes this negative thing gets out, it's hard to shake that. Some people won't allow you to shake that. Like even like I said, even after this happened, everybody was talking about Allen Iverson. Now, Allen Iverson, everyone knows his situation, his entourage, all of that. There's so much more he could have done if his company that he kept was different, if his image was different, right? He was able to succeed at Georgetown because he had a coach that really stepped in and cared and stepped up for him. That was something that he needed, right? And maybe that's something that Ja Morant needs as well, right? But you would think his father's present. His father's always at all the games and stuff like that. But, even that's been some of the talk on the talk shows and stuff like that about how his father needs to be the father and not the friend, and not the, not trying to be the celebrity. But again, he's an adult. He should be responsible for his own choices and decisions, which, like I said, the statement stated that he was. So, all right, everybody. So that's the part I wanted to talk about today with sports. I really wanted to cover really the Ja Morant, and I really was concerned about how we're going to do as a Giants, being a Giants fan, with signing someone to $40 million who is not worth it. Not worth it. But I'm starting to realize that everyone is overpaying for their quarterback. Everyone is an overpaid quarterback. When Dak got his contract, nobody thought Dak was worth that much money, but the Dallas Cowboys couldn't afford to lose him, so they paid it. Same thing when they had the contract situation with Zeke. They couldn't afford to lose Zeke at that moment, so they paid it. Now, Zeke is not half of the player that he was before, but he is willing to take a pay cut. So, I guess with signing bonuses and things of that nature, these things can work out if they're allowed to renegotiate contracts and stuff like that. But I'm very agitated with the contract that Daniel Jones has signed. I really thought we were in a place where the Giants are going to be making some sound decisions and choices. And to me, the Giants made a decision and a choice that I feel as though is insane. Yeah, that's market now, but really, for that, I don't know. That's my issue. $40 million. That's what they're saying is market now. You're right. That is what they're saying. Look at what Geno just got. Right? Yeah. Quarterbacks are making money. But if you're paying a quarterback $40 million and their name is not Patrick Mahomes and their name is not Josh Allen, that means that we need a lot more on this team that we are not going to be able to afford to get. I really have an issue with that much money being paid to that caliber of quarterback. And think about it like this. People want to say that was number 12. I can't remember. It's Tom Brady. Tom Brady, they want to call him the GOAT, one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever lived, right? Everybody, there's people who have their difference of opinion, but for the most part, everybody knows who Tom Brady is, right? Tom Brady has 7 rings. He's been great from the moment that he stepped on the field, taking over for hurt Bledsoe, right? And in New England. Great, right? But you know what? He was never really the highest paid quarterback. And that is how he was able to win 7 rings. Right? He was able to win 7 rings by being able to bring in other players to throw to, other players to block for him, other players to run. You know, if you want to be the highest paid quarterback, then you also are saying that, all right, you know, I don't know how everybody else going to be paid. I just need to make sure that I'm paid. That is not really the recipe for winning. I'm just saying. He was never really the highest paid. I think the most money he ever made was the contract he signed with Tampa Bay. But he was never really the highest paid quarterback. And I don't think people think about that when they go into these contract negotiations. You can't really want to win if you do not think about every other thing that's going on. Now, I'm not saying take pennies, but I am saying you need to be able to function and be able to bring in other players, or you will be out there playing by yourself. I mean, and that's pretty much what has happened. Think about it. When Russell Wilson got paid out there in Seattle, you had the Legion of Doom. You had this crazy defense, right? But when Russell got paid, that didn't leave too much money for the defense to get paid. So them defensive players, when their contracts started coming up, they started leaving. You can't afford to pay everybody. You can't afford to pay everybody. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what's going to happen, but I really don't. I'm really not looking forward to $40 million Daniel Jones, because I don't think he's going to look any different than Daniel Jones of last year. Again, we don't have any wide receivers. Every wide receiver we had last year was hurt. We're getting rid of Galloway. Thank you. We don't have anyone. So how else? I don't know, you guys. I'm sitting here still trying to think what we're gonna do. I don't know. I don't know. But hopefully we could get somebody out of this draft or something that could catch a ball or run fast, whatever. We're gonna figure it out. But as of right now, there's no one out there that I can even see coming here that would want to come here and play with Daniel Jones. You know what I mean? Like, and because sometimes you'll have that. You'll have people who will take a little less. Like, there are people who may take a little less because they want to play with Tom Brady, or there are people who want to take a little less because they want to play with when Peyton Manning was still quarterback. But Daniel Jones doesn't have that allure. You have people who may want to take a little less to play with Aaron Rodgers. Like, you have that type of situation, right? I don't see that with Daniel Jones. I don't see people want to take a little less to come here. I just don't see it. I don't see it. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to deny that. But also remember this Sunday, the 12th, is the brackets are going to be picked. The road to the Final Four is about to start. So the selection show is the 12th. I will be posting up my selections by Monday. by Monday, so I can real time show how I did with my selections. As y'all know, NCAA tournament is one of those things that's kind of cool. It's kind of great. There's this bracket situation, and you pick out your teams, and then and you try to win. Now there are a lot of people who gamble with this and win money with this. I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm just picking teams, trying to see, if I would have won. So I'm going to post my picks up. I'm going to post them up before the games happen. The games start Tuesday, I believe. But yes, I'm going to start before the games happen. But Sunday is a selection show. So a lot of those bubble teams, a lot of teams already know if you won your tournament, you're in and stuff like that. But there's a few bubble teams, and they get to find out on Sunday, the selection show that's on CBS. So again, watch it so we can all pick our teams and we all pick our Final Four. Now, all right, so those are the things I really wanted to cover today with sports, but there were a few things that were going on this week, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about was something that has troubled me quite a bit, and it's not getting talked about enough anymore, and that is the mass shootings that have been happening, right? Now, in January, I think I saw something where there were like 30 some odd shootings. And, we were just in January 2023. And the other day, CNN posted that there were, as of yesterday, there were like 100 mass shootings in the U.S. 100 in 2023. And we're only in March. And the thing that bothered me so much about it is that I hadn't heard about half of them. I've only heard about maybe 30 or 40 of them. And it bothered me so much because in the past, if we had one shooting, it would be a 24-hour news cycle. Everything was stopped. Every news channel would be going to that place to figure out what's going on. And what happens is when that stops happening, it's become normal. Like it's not a shock that someone goes in and shoots up a place of employment. It's not a shock that someone goes in and shoots up a school. It's not a shock that someone goes up and shoots up a basketball game. It's not a shock. And that is very sad. It's like we are desensitized to what's going on. And the thing is that unless something changes, this is going to get worse. Like I said, we're at 100 and we're only in March. Just imagine this. We're not even completely 3 months in and we're already at 100. So if that's going to be our average, we will be at 600 at more probably like 600 almost by the end of this year, right? And the problem that I'm having is that it doesn't seem to be any more of an outrage. It doesn't seem to be any more a cry for a gun law change. It doesn't seem to be any more reaching out to our congressmen, men and women to make some changes to these laws. It doesn't seem to be anything more happening besides, mass shooting in Texas today. 6 people were shot and killed in Arizona. 3 kids going to school were shot and killed when someone wanted to shoot up a school bus. And that's how it's become. It's become so like every day. And what I would like, and I would love to hear you guys' suggestions. Like, what are some of the things that you think that we can do? Because guess what? We can make a difference. We can change some things. We have to change the narrative about, that's their issue or that's happening over there. And that's a Texas problem. Oh, you know what? That's a school shoot. My kid's not in school. That's a school shooting problem. No, it's a people problem. It's a everybody problem. It's something that we need to change. We need to. I know my church, the church that I go to is New Life Now Church. And I know my church, what we started to do is, and it's not for the shootings per se, but we started to go into our areas and do prayer walks and start praying over the areas, praying for protection, praying for healing, praying for praying that God just moves and hears the cry in the heart of the people. And we've been doing this over the territories and the areas that we live in, right? But we all need to be doing something, right? And we all need to be doing something. We all need to be doing something with this. This is a very, 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 very important issue. We cannot have mass shootings just continuously happening and it not be an issue, it not be a problem, there not be an outcry, and there not be it's become so normal. It's become so normal, and we need to make sure that we get to a place where that's not the case. There should be laws against people who have mental illnesses getting license for guns. There should be background checks for someone who is not have anything to hide, or they're not getting a gun for any illegal or not right reason. Why would they care if they're doing a background check? So why are certain things being fought? Like, that's the thing I don't understand. Like, I remember when the Sandy Hook shooting happened, and this really brought me to tears, because this was an elementary school that was shot up, and there was little children like 5 and 6 years old shot dead, and there were people who were acting as if this didn't really happen, or that this was a conspiracy, and that people just want us to think that this. And I started to get to this place where I was like, what is wrong with people? Then I remembered that people are demon possessed, boy. They have allowed the enemy to rest, rule, and abide in their minds, where some people don't even think for themselves. They can't think straight. They don't know what they're doing. And in some cases, some people, they got their own personal issues where they have like internal hatred or things going on with themselves. And then they project that onto innocent little children or to people who don't like just recently. I think the last one that I remembered hearing about was the one that happened at Michigan. These are college students, and somebody just starts shooting up the campus. They just start shooting up the campus. Like, one of the kids, 2 of the kids that went to the school, their mother is like the attorney general for Michigan or something like that. So she's in the midst of trying to understand what's going on while her children are at the school being shot at. You know what I mean? It is becoming a situation where there must be a change. And that change has to start with whoever is hearing this, right? It has to start with us. And what I will tell you that I do already is I pray and I fast. I pray and I fast. And I started to think, like, God, what if I wasn't praying and fasting? How many more shootings would there have been? God, what on earth can we do? Right? Like, what on earth can we do? And I just keep asking him, what on earth can we do? What on earth can we do? And some of the things that we can do is we can start writing our congressmen. We can start writing our councilmen. We can start showing up. We could start showing up to these meetings that they don't necessarily publicize all the time, right? But we got to start showing up to these town halls and these city meetings where we can start speaking about the things that we are concerned with, right? I know for me, I live in a town where I see a lot of things are happening. I do see a lot of things are happening, which are positive things, right? But I don't care about the concert or this or that happening, right? That doesn't affect me. That doesn't help me, right? But you know what would help me? and which I do see. I do see the mayor of our town doing things to try to combat guns being on the street, and giving buyback programs and different things of that nature. I do see that, right? But there's so much more that has to get done. So I'm asking everyone to find out who, if you don't know, find out who your councilmen are, find out who your councilmen are, find out who your senators are, find out who your board of education people are, because again, some of these things are happening in the schools. Some of these situations are going on in the schools. Like recently, this wasn't a mass shooting, but this was another thing that I was speaking about, because you don't hear about it as often as you should, but children are still being bullied. And there's a difference between being bullied with somebody saying, oh, you got on ugly shoes and talk. Then they've been showing these children that have been like getting jumped, beat, and then that video is being played on social media, and then they're being laughed at and heckled. And mind you, the facilities, the schools know that this has happened, but they don't do anything about it until the child goes and commits suicide. Then when the child commits suicide, then it's like, oh, these kids need to be expelled. But they should have been expelled for fighting. They should have been expelled for showing the video. They should have been expelled for constant bullying. There was another young lady at the school where this little girl had killed herself. Her mother pulled her out because a similar situation happened with her, where the kids beat her up, recorded it, showed it to everybody. The kids weren't suspended. So the thing is, things have to change. Yes, I saw that too. There was a 6-year-old kid who brought a gun to school and shot his teacher. Like, we have to do more. We have to do more. We have to do more. And the thing is, sometimes I know we can get to this place where we feel as though, oh, who are we? Oh, we're just one person. We're just one person. We're just one person. There's plenty of people who were just one person that changed so much. Harriet Tubman, no, we're not Harriet Tubman, but Harriet Tubman, one person changed so much. Right? What if she said, oh, you know what? I'm free. That's their problem now. I'm free. That's their problem now. Just like I got free, let them get free. We gotta realize that one person can do so much. Just imagine if you did something, I did something, then we're one person. Yes, maybe in by ourselves, but if we're all moving forward, we're all reaching out to our congressmen, if we're all writing letters, if we're all showing up, if we're all stating the same things, like, look, we are done. We are done with this. We are done with this. We are not going to reelect you. Your name is not, you're not going to get reelected unless we see some type of change. You know, you're not going to be able to continue to sit up here as my senator and do nothing. You're not going to be able to sit up here as my senator and not hear my concerns or hear my complaints. And a lot of us, we don't write. We just figure, oh, let them vote on whatever they vote. We need to start doing some things differently. They need to understand that, hey, you know, we are outraged by the amount of shootings. We are outraged by the amount of senseless murders. We are outraged. And when I'm saying, I was talking about mass shootings, but violence, period. Outraged. You know, you're constantly hearing about people being carjacked in front of their house. In Cranford, or was it Cranford? It was Cranford? I think it was Cranford. You know, it's a nice area. People pulled up in their garage in their Maserati and carjacked in their driveway. That should not happen. That should not happen. That should not happen. So we need to start doing more. We need to start acting as if we care. And, you know, remember, like, we have all been given a voice, and we've all been given a heart of compassion. We've all been given the ability to think, speak, and write, right? So all of these things can be used to make a difference. All these things can be used to make a change. And we need to start thinking about, yes, we may be small in number. We may be one, right? But this one can touch another one. That one can touch another one. That one can touch another 1,500. That one, think about it. Martin Luther King, one man, right? Couldn't do all that marching and changing things by himself. But guess what? There needed to be someone to start it. There needed to be someone to start the conversation. There needs to be someone. There needs to be someone. Yeah. So I just really hope that all of you understand that there is something for all of us to do. There is something that we all can do, and it can start right now. It can start tonight. We can all pray. We can all pray over our territories. We can all pray over our homes. We can all pray over our townships. We can all pray for our leaderships in our towns. When I say towns, I mean our mayors, our governors, our senators. We can pray, and then what we can do is we can just start asking God for them to have the heart of the people, because we are the people, right? We are the people. So have them the heart of the people, so they can hear and understand and start fighting for the things that we the people are desiring. We the people are desiring a place to be able to let our kids walk and not be afraid of being shot at, right? I know for me personally, Joyce Berry, I parked on the side of my house and someone walked up to my car with a gun and carjacked me. Correct, right? Me, Joyce Berry, that happened to me. So I'm not saying this as a I'm not saying this as a person that is not is not oblivious to this, to what I'm speaking to you guys about, this situation, and it wasn't. And so, people say all the time, well, the white man this, the white man that. There was a black man that came to my car with that gun. So it is not about race. I'm not saying, I'm not speaking about, just the white people doing. No, it's about everything. Everything. We need to change gun laws. We need to have safer streets. We need to be able to walk in and out of our homes safely. We need to be able to move and do the things that God is requiring us all to do. And for me, one of those things is to start speaking out more, to start being more vocal, to start saying the things that need to be said. And one of those things tonight is we need to start doing more about this senseless violence. And again, it can start with prayer, but we need to also start doing more in the natural as well, by writing and by calling and by contacting the lobbyists that are fighting for these guns, right? Because the guns are not killing people. No, they're right. They always say guns don't kill people. You're right. You're right. The guns don't kill people. The people kill people, right? But you're making it a little too easy for some of those people to have their hands on a gun. People who are not mentally stable, but you allow them to have a gun, right? And when you start to do that, and when you start to realize that a lot of this is profit driven over, common sense and quality of life, because the person that is the person that is responsibly purchasing a gun, you're not hearing about them going to shoot up schools. You're not hearing about them going to shoot up schools. You hear about them protecting their home from someone breaking in. And that is okay. Right? I'm not saying that all guns should be banned. That's not what I'm saying at all. I do believe that, it is a constitutional right for people to bear arms. Yes. But I should also have that same ability to have a right to be able to walk in and out of my home without fear of someone trying to shoot up of the street. Or I should have the same kind of ability to let my child go to school without having any type of fear that someone's going to shoot up the school. I should be able to do certain things without thinking that there's going to be somebody who is mad at the world that wants to come and kill everybody else. Like you like when the supermarket in Buffalo was shot up. The supermarket in Buffalo was shot up because it was a black supermarket. The person wanted to shoot and kill black people. Like that should not be the case. That should not be a thing. right? So I just hope and pray that you guys are just, you know, just as upset and saddened by seeing that there had been 100 mass shootings in 2023 alone. And that we really start to realize that there's something that we can do and there's something that we must do. And I pray that you all start tonight with just praying and asking God to just to show up and show out in our areas, and to change some things, to change some things. So I pray you guys have an amazing night, and God willing, I will see you all here next Thursday at 7. And by then, you know, my bracket should be hopefully it's still 100%. I don't know about that, but we'll see. Have an amazing night, everyone. And God willing, I will see you all right back here next week.